Friday, people. This is Babz Rose Ivy. I know I'm supposed to not be here today, but I could not miss the opportunity to talk to Dr. Thomas Easley. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Okay, let me tell you about Thomas Easley. By day, he is the assistant dean at Yale School of Forestry as the assistant dean of community inclusion. And by night, he is Professor Prismatic, hip hop artist extraordinaire. So we can talk about music, we can talk about work, we can talk about everything. And you know what? He let me know that it is possible to do complex hip hop music and be on the positive tip.
Yes, without cursing.
Without cursing.
Without cursing. Yes, we do it all the time.
All right. All right. So tell me about this duality of lives. How did you become an artist and end up at, one of the most prestigious schools in the world doing forestry? Because you are a black man doing forestry work.
Yes.
Okay, that in and of itself is its own thing, but
I'll keep it. I won't make it too long because it is a story, and because it is a journey. But before I came here, I was at North Carolina State University.
HBCU.
No. That would be Central.
Oh, that would be Central.
Yeah, but it is a land grant.
Okay.
So here's the thing. At least in North Carolina, you have 2 land grants. NC State is one. The HBCU would be North Carolina A&T State.
Oh,
so so close.
Yes,
so
yes.
So I definitely want to, honor that and say thank you for recognizing and hollering us out. I'm a graduate of one myself, Alabama A&M University.
Yay!
Go Bulldogs. So now that I'm here at Yale, I say I guess I'm a Bulldog for real.
Oh, isn't that the funniest thing?
Isn't that funny? Right. I went to an HBCU that our mascot is the Bulldogs, Alabama A&M. While I was at Alabama A&M, I was an exchange student at the University of Georgia for a year in their school of forestry. I was the only black person in the school. Well, UGA, they're Bulldogs. UGA is known as one of the top forestry schools in the nation. I went to Alabama A&M, the only school that puts out black foresters in the nation. And now I'm at Yale, the first school of forestry in the nation, which is also
Get
Bulldog.
out of here.
So I'm a Bulldog 3 times.
Oh, you got it. That's an interesting connection.
It is.
Do they know that at Yale?
They do now.
Oh my gosh.
They do.
That is the coolest thing.
They do that. It's just funny how what started in the 90s ends up in the 2000s, and here I am.
So how did you get it? So what was it about forestry that interests you? How do you come out of high school and be like, forestry?
Here's what's funny. I think that's what we want to happen. I think the typical model is come out of high school and you go into and then you go into what you want to study. It wasn't like that for me. When I came out of high school, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't even know that I was going to college, just to be honest with you. I got into a little bit of trouble when I was a teenager, just making bad decisions.
That's a black man's story in America.
Come on, and the good thing is that I didn't have to touch the system and be stuck in it. That's the good thing, because I know that if I would have had to touch it, I'd probably still be impacted by it now, which most of my brothers in particular who did get touched by it still are.
Okay.
And so I graduated from high school, and I just see this opportunity at Alabama A&M to do a summer program and earn $2,500. My mind was only about making money. That was it. I was a sacker at a grocery store, and God bless my parents. I still have them, both my mom and my dad, but they didn't have money to send me off to school. And even though they both are formally educated too, they didn't really know everything to do either, because they were educated in a different time. They were educated in the 70s. So 20 years before me, things changed. So, they don't know about scholarships and different things like that. So I do this summer. I entered this summer research program and start off in genetics, tissue culture. It just blew my mind. I was like, I didn't know. I only heard of genetics in movies. I didn't know it was a real field. So I'm sitting in the lab with Dr. Rafina Ward, man, and she breaking me down. She making me read books and, to try to comprehend what it is that I'm doing in the lab. And at the end of the summer, she was my mentor. She's great. End of the summer, I do this presentation of representatives of the U.S. Forest Service were there, among other, some government officials. And they really liked my presentation. It was like, I think 3 or 4 of us, they got the scholarship. I was one. And that's how it started. They were like, if you'll work for the Forest Service, when you graduate, we'll pay for you to go to school.
Get out of here.
And I said, all right. Like I said, it was all about money for me at the time. I can tell you this. I just turned 40 last month.
Happy
I didn't
birthday.
start. Thank you. Turned 40 on the 4th. Isn't that funny? But I didn't start planning my life until 7 years ago. So I can actually say that.
Wow.
Like that. I didn't start going, okay, I want to do this until 7 years ago. But that's how I started in the field of forestry. Like
wow.
right there. That's how I started.
That is, you know what? That is such a cool story. And I think that's a story that I'm so glad you're here to tell the story, because I think what you said earlier is that people think traditionally you come out of high school and kids get pushed into something and we don't even know what they want to do. But that was divine providence, I think.
It was.
Just all these things. Here you are like, I'm about those Benjamins.
Right. I'm just trying to make some money. I'm trying to survive because of where we came from. I wasn't trying to live in my parents' house, for real. And that's that in itself is another story, not necessarily positive either. But I wasn't trying to live at home. I wasn't. I didn't want that to be my existence. And when I left and went to school, I never turned back either. I went to Alabama A&M, and it was like my goal was never to end back up in Birmingham. Like I don't want to end back up in Birmingham, Alabama, even though it's a great city. It's my home. There's a lot of beautiful history there. It's a place that I don't want to go back to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
But you go back to visit.
I go back to visit.
You can't live there.
Yeah, I can't live. If my parents weren't there, I wouldn't. To be honest with you, because I really don't want to go back. I don't want to go back like that. I'd much rather go back to help out in the community versus going back just to sit and dwell,
where you went to school, wherever they could call you and say, hey.
Oh no, I'm going back there. See, I still go there. See, that's the thing. See, I believe in going back. I don't.
We want you to chair the department.
Yeah. Hey, see, no, and
because that's how it works.
And that could potentially happen. So I'm not against going back to my institution. And I shouldn't say I'm not anti-Alabama. I
know exactly what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I
but
know
to
exactly
go home,
what you mean.
To go back home and just kind of sit there and kick it, it's like, I'd rather, which I do, go home and actually build, do things, grow with other people, because that's just kind of and that's where I am in my life right now. And of course, I could do that anywhere, but that's really where I focus my energy when I go home.
So how long have you been over at Yale?
Only 8 months.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. 8 months. 8 months. 2 days ago.
So you,
let's be real.
So you knew.
New.
Oh,
new, like ATL. New.
Oh.
It's that new.
Oh Lord, welcome.
Hey,
well, it ain't Wakanda, I'll tell you that.
It ain't Wakanda, but forever. Hey, I'm trying to build Wakanda. How about that? I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to build that. T'Challa.
So our listeners, I'm gonna get to that, Ife. I'm gonna get to see if he knows about Love Fed, because it's this urban gardening. My niece does this this nonprofit that she is going around getting people to understand what it means to have an urban garden.
Okay.
And she's a sommelier, young sister. And so we'll talk about her in a minute. And I want to connect you to her because I think you would find what she and her partner are doing interesting, and it might be some good connections between the School of Forestry and what she's doing.
Okay.
I know you know Common Ground, so she's
definitely
connected to that and all of that. So
okay.
So anyway,
love to connect for real.
So by day,
Dr. Thomas R. Easley,
and by night, Professor Prismatic.
Rashad E.
I know. All right. So listen, if you came up through the 80s, right? Because you're 40. So if you come up through the 80s, everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody's got some rap story or rap dream.
Especially in the 90s. You really start seeing this pop up. Because, in the 80s, people were fighting it. They didn't like hip hop. Hip hop wasn't real. It's not real music.
You might be right. See, I'm older than you, so I'm like, I always get my my decades confused. But you're right. But I do remember everybody wanting to be a rapper.
Yeah.
And trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
But you actually making it happen.
I make it happen. Just a different way. It's just a different. Well, you know what? Can I go back to your first question?
Yes.
You know, which was how do you do the, being an artist and then also, being a forester, which I am that too, And,
I love when you say that I'm a forester.
Yeah, I got to say that because that's real. How many black people can say that? How many people can say that, period?
You're the only one I know.
Hey, come next month, I'm going to bring another one. Sam
All
Cook.
right.
I'm going to bring another one. And after that, and I bring another one in October, Drew Lanham. And then in December, I can bring another, a sister, Leslie Weldon Johnson.
Okay.
Number 3 in charge of the U.S. Forest Service.
I want them all here on the show.
Okay.
I want everybody to come and talk.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Seriously, I got you. For me, okay, first, I love hip hop. One of my little sayings, I say not play with it, but as a person who used to be a pastor, I know it probably messes with people, but I say hip hop is my religion, and Jesus is my savior. So I say hip hop is my religion because I feel like hip hop is for everybody because we pull from everywhere to make the music, whether it's instrumentals, obviously, record sampling and different things like that. For me, doing hip hop back in probably about 2011, 2012, it was a necessity for my sanity. Is when I really, and that's when I started doing it professionally. I've been rapping since I was a kid. since I was, since I had an afro, before I started balding, before I had gray hairs, before I was 20, before I had lower back pains and a right knee problem, I was rapping, but, before the bunion. I even think maybe before the facial hair, I don't know, but while I was working at NC State, and what I'm about to say, this is not to throw them under the bus, it's just to kind of to comment on what what normally happens. I think many people go to work every day and they can't bring their full self to work every day, and they go to work every day.
That's
agitated,
black people in America.
Period. I'm gonna say facts and period in so many ways. And I had a lot going on inside of me because, see, my job even at NC State dealt with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's great to work in that area, but if you're not careful, you can be pigeonholed because you have people who are in charge who don't know anything about DEI making decisions, and they're calling on people like me who are the experts who know a lot about it. And it's just kind of weird that I'm answering to people who are incompetent when it comes to that, know. And so, and I don't mean that to put them down. We're all incompetent in something. It's just strange to be working in something that other people want to try to control, but they don't even know anything about it. And it's usually white individuals, but it could be anybody.
I think that's the history of colonization.
Yeah, well, it is. It's the history of colonization. It's also, it's a great institution, but it's the history of Yale. It's the history of so many schools, and NC State is no stranger to that. And I was going through a lot of things, and my students were too. And what we did was we started making music together. I started with me and a young man. I was the person who put him on his first airplane. We made our first group. We called it Diversity, DIEVERCITY. We spelled it like that because he was 10 years younger than me. And we were like, in order to be here, some things about you have to die for you to be here. I had to lose my ego of being the older person, the elder to him, and he lost his, like, he's so young, he can do everything. We had to humble ourselves to come together. Just to fast forward, we continue to make music, and what I'm proud to say is that I've now worked with over 10 students. 8 of them have created their own platform. One in particular, and hopefully we could play his stuff. Mitch Durrell, aka Mitchell Davis, is really doing this thing down in North Carolina. And remember, I said I didn't plan any of this stuff, so it's like I'm just doing things as I'm moving. And what I noticed is, music in particular, I think that it's a universal language.
Absolutely.
Just like math is universal all over the world, music actually is universal. It's like people hear it.
Every
and they do
culture
something.
has some kind of music.
Why not teach like that too, especially in college? And so that's what I started doing. First I used the music as an incentive for the students to do well. Like, hey, look, you want to go to the studio, say you got talent, pass my class and we'll go. But then we started using the music to tell our story and to talk about the issues that we were going through in our lives. And it wasn't a rule. It's just that people understood something when they listened to my music. They were like, okay, he doesn't curse,
And that's a big deal.
Yeah, I guess to me it wasn't at the time. I was just like, in all honesty, I said I wanted to make a record that my mom could listen to. I wanted to make a record that my dad could listen to, even though my dad not listen to whatever. It's really my mom. You know what I'm saying? Because she's the devout Christian.
She done heard some words though.
Yeah, she uses words. Come on now, like let's be real now. Shoot, you got a lot of people. Like I had a friend. Matter of fact, she's a Sora, by the way. So much respect. and she would she my first album, she didn't dig it. Because my first album, see, the other thing that we say that we make is not reality raps like NWA used to do, but reality in the sense of also who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So my first album is called Transitions. I wanted people to see how I was, like how I was before college, how I was in college, and then how I was after I got saved, like before I became a pastor and all of that stuff. So I did use some words on my first album, you know, because I wanted you to hear the sounds of an 18-year-old who didn't think he was who's surprised that he made it to 18, that surprised he made it to 21. And then really when I made it to 25, I was like, oh my God, like, wait, I probably can do this. And now that I'm 40 and people were complaining about the curse words. So I had a friend of mine, you know, and she was just like, yeah, I can't listen to the album because of the words, you know, on the album. And I said, but you use the words when we talk in person. What the hell is wrong with you? I said, you're such a hypocrite. Like, seriously? So then I just said, you know what? Then don't listen to the album. I guess I'm not talking to you. Hopefully you better hope I ain't talking about you. But anyway, so, you know, so that's the thing that kind of got me, that you have people who would be like, yeah, I don't want to listen to that because I don't like those words. But don't get me wrong, I do understand. Because things can be planted in your spirit, in your heart, and in your mind, too. So I get it. That's also why I didn't do it. I didn't continue to do it. I said I knew I wanted to do this now, put my stuff out on Front Street. And every album after that, there's been nothing. And even that first album, the second half of it is all clean.
It's funny because you know what? I cuss a lot, right? In my circle, in my private circle.
Yeah.
Like there are people who don't even know I cuss, but I cuss in my private circles like a sailor. But I don't want to hear it. Like I don't want to hear it on record, or I don't want to hear it because I just think those are words that should not find a permanent home. Like it's just the way you communicate.
Permanent home.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on a record, it becomes a permanent home, and it just when you hear it back, it's just like, ooh. You know, I don't like it, and I don't like it in mixed company. Like I don't want to, like I don't cuss around kids.
Same
and
here.
elderly people.
Same here.
I don't
cuss
church
around my
people.
parents. Yeah, I don't cuss around my parents.
No. See, there's some things that are just off limits, right?
Just
But
don't
I
do
think
it.
that's how we were raised up. Like you didn't cuss around. And I'm 55. So I can say what I want to say, but I draw the line around, you know, my church people and
yes,
you know what I mean, and little kids and stuff like that.
Same here. And I don't curse in church. I didn't do it. But you know, here's what I loved when I pastored the church. The young people in particular. First, Charles Brooks. He's my pastor. He gave me. Not that I needed his permission because I had already done it, but he gave me the affirmation. And hopefully he gets to hear this to say, keep doing what you're doing. See, he heard the first album and he said, if I could rap, I would do the same thing. He said, and do it like you did it. And I said, why? He said, because you're not afraid to get dirty. He said, I'm not saying people are dirty. He said, you're not afraid to speak the way people speak who don't come here. That's why I made the record. Yeah. I was like, because if you tried to talk to me when I was 16, you either would have got cursed out, I would have walked away, if not worse. To be honest with you, that's the kind of person I was when I was in high school. So I'm talking to people who are like I felt that I was, and worse. To be honest with you, like you know, people who I probably don't want to hang around now. You know, at this point, you know what I'm saying. But that's who I hung around when I grew up.
Listen, tell it.
I'm just telling the truth. But he got it. The next people who got it were the youth.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I had an open-minded pastor, still have them. And then the youth really got it. So here again, my thing is, well, who am I talking to? That's why to my friend, I said, I guess I'm not talking to you then. I guess you don't need to go to church, even though, you know, you probably need to go to God, but not to church, you know what I'm saying? You know, but so I said that I'm gonna just do it for people who will listen. And of course, the person who was also listening, number one, was me. I said, this is my music. So the reason I say Rashard versus Thomas, okay, so check this out. Everybody else knows me as Thomas at work. You know, anyone outside my family knows me as Rashard. Now, you can't pick your family, but you can pick your friends. So, you know, I got family members that I love. I got family members also that I don't like, but I still love. So my thing is, if you can listen to my music and like it, you may, if I give you the right, you can call me Rashard or call me Rashardese, because that's the part of who I am. I don't apologize for that. So if I say F you, you know, I won't say it on the record. You don't get no apology, because I thought about it before it came out of my mouth. If I you know, kind of respond in a certain way on in hip hop, more likely you won't get an apology. But here's why: because I'm thinking, I'm not reacting. I'm thinking. That's why I don't use certain words in my music. I don't use the N word. I was going to
ask you about that women. Because that seems to be a
nope. I don't do that.
So well, let's play some music and we come back into it. Okay. Harry, something queued up we can play. See it right. Okay. Because I want to talk about the N-word, because we are still having controversy about the N-word. Sure. Okay. And it's still problematic in our community. Well, it's problematic for a lot of people, because people feel like they want to say it. Why can't they say it? Yes. And then there are people who say, so what am I going to listen to? Well, you tell me.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he had queued up.
Okay, you got it queued up, Harry? Okay, which one?
Oh, why you hating?
Homie, I'm just trying to make it here. Every time I'm getting close, some hater try and take it here. Man, I swear it feel like Satan steady sitting waiting here. Still be trying to get this W like we got paint in here. Catch me if you can, hater. I'm on another plane. You hogging up the road, I'm switching to another lane. Watching all the news and all I'm seeing is my brother slain. Wish we could take all of the officers to Lover's Lane. Our lives are not a game. See how we dying, man. It's just getting tiring. Guess that's just what happened when your country say you not a man. We just a third of one. That's why we get murdered, son. Here's police in 101. If he black, murder him. I ain't trying to paint with a broad brush. Come on, no. Look what they done got away with. Killing for Londo. Bro, I'm at a loss for words. I can't find them. If they pull me over, I'm next in line, son.
I'm minding mine, why you hating? Woo! 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 I'm minding mine, why you hating? I'm just trying to do me. I'm minding mine, why you hating? I'm just trying to do me. I'm minding mine, why you hating?
All right, I'm feeling that. That's kind of good. That's hot.
Thank you. And that's my friend there that you just listened to, Ayo the Philosopher. So he's a friend of mine. We both worked at NC State together. Here's what's so funny. He went to Southern Connecticut for undergrad. And so when I moved up here, he's connected me to his friends up here. And and for those, if you liked it, I'll just let you know that's actually a video. If you type in literally what I'm about to say, the letter Y, the letter U, the letter H, and then the number 8 and N, put that in YouTube, and we're the number one. We're number one on YouTube.
Really?
Our video is number one on YouTube.
It's got a nice vibe to it.
That's my guy Joe T, and he and I put it like this. One day, hopefully, we can do a story about the music, because the music itself is, in my opinion, the story is better than the music. Joe T, we grew up together. We both are from Birmingham. I've known that man for 26 years, and we even had an issue where we weren't even really supposed to be friends. Like, almost had like a falling out when I got in trouble. But I think he and I both grew up really fast because of our living, like circumstances and stuff. And here we are all these years later. And he's like my main producer on the label. I mean, this was my guy. We played the trombone section together in the band. So I still play music. He literally makes music now and plays it, and now we make it together. It's just funny how this come around.
I love this. This is a good story.
Yeah.
All right, so you're not about the misogynistic lyrics.
No.
Why?
I was raised first primarily by my grandmother and my grandfather. You know how people say, I don't know what Jay-Z and them say, I ain't never seen no ceilings. Well, yes, you have. But I haven't seen weak women because I wasn't raised by them. And so that's not really a part of how I think. And my grandmother taught me so many things before I was 10 years old. She died when I was 14, but she taught me so much before I was 10. And so I can't be disrespectful, like to women. And she didn't make me say, don't be disrespectful. Nothing like that. It was just that I can't.
I think some of these rappers have that same thing, but I think money changes people.
It can.
I mean, I think they tell a different story than the reality of what they've come from.
A lot of times.
Now, I think.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think we all have dualities, or, like there's certain dichotomies that we all, like we have to address dichotomies. We live in dualities all like so many times. We're all intersectional beings. So there's so many pieces of who we all are. I'm a Southerner. I'm a Christian, but I was a Muslim. I've been an atheist. I'm a man. I'm heterosexual. It's just so many things. Middle class. So a lot of things that you can say about me. But looking at my grandma and how she raised me, I'm glad that I didn't get attention until later in life. Because the other things that people start getting. See, one of the problems with entertainment is that we lean too much on young people. I love young energy. I don't like too much young intelligence all the way because it's not complete.
You know what? I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? It's not complete.
Yes,
I'm not saying that it's just not complete.
It's hard. Yes. And when you're a certain age, you know that it's not complete.
Yes.
And so there's the disconnect between young people and older people.
So I think that's why they haven't been able to, by the time, like say, for example, Tupac, even though we know he's been gone for 22 years now. I'm
still mourning.
Right. I was just about to say that, but his impact is still with us, right? Biggie's been gone for 21 years.
Yeah.
Still mourning. But so they died at 25. 25, but they made so much of an impact. Imagine the man he probably would have been. I said would have been because we never know, but at 40. Yeah. Like who Tupac would have actually been at 40, who Biggie Smalls would have been at 40. At 25, he was still, while he was a strong man, definitely was a strong man, and he was a highly intelligent man, he was also highly influential. You know, shoot, that fight in Vegas was trying to please the crew that he was with. See, grown men, we don't do that. Like, we don't.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, like if I'm walking with one group and I see another group, you see, because I'm walking with you, you better already be down with me because I'm with you. I don't have to prove it to you now because we're together. So no, you see what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. You know, his frontal lobe wasn't even fully developed yet.
That's a good point.
You see what I'm saying? And
that's a good point.
So then when you hear him making songs like, you wonder why they call you, you know, and I'm like, here's a man that was raised by his mother, Black Panther. You know, yes, she was on drugs, but even when she was on drugs, they said her brilliance still shined through. I mean, this woman beat a court by herself and got herself out of jail. So that's what I'm saying. He wasn't fully mature. Mm-hmm. So you know, that's why I don't use the word, because I make a conscious decision not to. Okay. And
you won't do it for personal gain?
No, I won't do it for personal gain. You know, because
a record company could say, you know what, you know, amp it up a little bit.
Gain the word. Because you
got. How do you amp it up? Mm-hmm. You got to distance. You got to outshine all the other people who are saying kind of the same thing. So how hard can you go? How much more can you? You know,
you gain the world and then you lose your soul. You know, I don't want to do first, you know what, we were talking before the show, right? Went to the Jay-Z Beyonce concert, right? And it was a great concert.
Yes, the on the run
tour, on the run too. And you know, Jay is great. So let's say that Sean Carter is great. And of course, Beyonce is like the great test. So, I don't want to have to have 3 children and have to explain to them, you know, why I made a song called Big Pimpin' when they turn 14 and 15 years old. Like I don't want to have that discussion.
But but when you're making Big Pimpin', you don't know. You don't right. see the future. You don't know you're gonna have 3 kids and a wife and a career. You just think I'm in this moment, and I think that is the challenge of youth. Mm-hmm. How not to I don't know how do you safeguard. But
watch this. But see, now here's the only thing that I say about him, you know, too. He was in his 30s when he made that. Oh. So that's the other thing that I just want to say, because remember when he came out, he was 25, 26. You know, he came out Show and Prove with Big Daddy Kane before Reasonable Doubt dropped. Yeah. So he's in his 30s. So that's the other thing. You know, like that, you know, like you also got to explain that too, Pop, maybe. You know, how old were you when you made Big Pimp? How old when you said Big
But you know, to that end, mm-hmm. he ain't been nowhere yet at that point. He hasn't been anywhere, hasn't been exposed. Just getting his feet wet, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, with awareness comes a whole, you know, what did Sister Maya Angelou say? When mm-hmm. you know better, you do better?
You hope. Because I say if you don't, then that's trifling.
Yeah, it is trifling. Yeah,
it's trifling if you know better and you don't do better.
Because there's some trifling brothers out there.
Yeah. So that's why, you know, and this is, I'm not trying to cast judgment.
No.
What I'm saying is, I say it like this, I've watched other people mm-hmm. and I've seen what they've had to do, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not saying, oh, horrible person. No, because I didn't say Jay was horrible, because I don't think he is. I'm like, I don't want to have to do that.
I think R. Kelly is a horrible person.
I will not disagree with that.
Okay. I don't see. There's no evolution. There's no contrition. It's just more of.
You know the way you just said that, it almost sounded like you're about to do bump and grind. You said, I don't see. You about to go.
No, I wasn't.
The way you said it, I was like, wait, hold up. Like you did say.
No, I wasn't.
I believe you were, but it's like, you know, that was kind of, in the song tone. I don't see. But I'm just saying, you know, artist, I'm always thinking music. Mm-mm. But yeah, you know, so I'm just saying.
Even if it was subconscious, I wasn't.
I feel you. No, I feel you. You know, but no, I just don't want to have to do that. You know, I don't want to. A dumb person doesn't learn from his or her mistakes. A smart person learns from his or her or their mistakes, mm-hmm. and a wise person learns from others' mistakes. Okay. So I just want to. Since I was really in high school, I said I wanted to be a wise person.
All right, so Harry, can I play something else? Okay, so Harry's gonna cue up something else. I think we're gonna play something by you. No, the Dreddy Tapes. Mitch Darrell.
Yes. Okay.
And Dillis.
That's my brother, Mitch Darrell and Dillis.
Okay.
Mitch Darrell and Dillis.
Okay, so he's gonna cue up some of that. I want to hear that, and then and we'll see, because that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So, do you feel like you've evolved?
Oh, I know I have.
Okay.
I know I have.
But in all areas, because people can evolve career-wise, and not mm-hmm. evolve in other areas.
True, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, yes. And I see it. You know, I see it with people. You know, mm-hmm. You could evolve career-wise, but still running with the boys that you ran with when you was like 12, and they still ain't up to no good. And you can't, and I see it, and people can't let it go.
Facts.
Like, well, those are my boys. I was like, no, you got, listen, you can't take everybody.
Baby boy.
And that's a hard thing in our community because we have this mentality of ride or die. And who we came up with is who we got to stay connected to. And I do think there's a way to stay connected to people without sort of putting yourself in harm's way.
I think so.
I don't know if we've learned that message. I certainly don't see it with young people. I think young people are having a tough time sort of transitioning up. Up,
yes, and up, and then maybe out.
And out
if they want to get out, or if they want to be out. No, I agree. I'm still friends with a couple of my childhood friends, those who are still alive. I'm still friends with them. I see them. I do see them when I go home and invite them, to come to also come and see me. Share my life. Care about their life. They know what's going on with me. Even our friendships have gone through different evolutions because they were intimidated by me. A few of my friends. For a while, because they thought, because he's educated, I was gonna be a certain way. And I'm like, no, I'm like, matter of fact, I'd rather come home, and be around y'all because you know who I am for real. Like, Is
there pressure to maintain some sort of? I understand that because I went off to college, went off to grad. I understand how we can be perceived in our own communities when we sort of achieve a little bit more than everybody else.
There, it can be.
Is there some pressure to sort of prove that you are still down?
Can
people say down anymore? I don't know.
They still say it, no, Babz. They still say it. No, you got it. You got it, my queen. You got it.
I don't know.
No. They still say it. If they don't, they better get back to it. You better wake up, realize what's real, what's classic, what's lifeless.
Listen, I was trying to
listen. Priceless.
The language changes, so I know.
Yeah.
Can I go, Harry? There we go. Let's see.
Show out like that. Positive vibes surround my pack. So if I fall, watch them throw me back. Likewise, like mine's often attached. So I keep God first to his hands. I latch God. Success is built in the plans and phrase in the options. So understand my peak performance might look enormous, but it's normal. I tend to show out like that. My peak performance might look enormous, but it's normal. I tend to show out like that. My peak performance might look enormous, but it's normal. I tend to show out like that. My peak performance might look enormous, but it's normal. I tend to show out like that.
I'll be the one having fun in the packed house. You be the one who was done in the background. I am the man who command with the background. You ain't a man cause you ran from a cat's mouth. Suspect, you're a suspect. You should confess, upset, see my success. And I run this game. Q got the same views as the 6 guy. Take care, no it ain't fair. Tick, tick, talk. Can't waste time cause there ain't no more life. Once this ends, don't begin again. Your life only got one chance just like Chicago. Only get one dance, Drake's got a God flow. But I spit flame, spit game, you a bit lame. Quit saying that I'm insane. What a big change. Placing me right on top of the rap thing. My hood, ITL, where my cats hang. Black king, I'm a black king, and we playing spades. Real ting, got a real ting, and I say again, Drake's got a God flow, and a rap God dough. Might quit rap and act like Roblo. Ham like I go, just like my hoe. Defensive line, they dogs like Shiloh. Looking 3D, red, blue like 5-0. Black like hashtag 1050. Here G Davis tells ha-ha jokes. Stylist out here, he's got my boat. Heard Ray Bo Peace out on tour.
Okay, I'm feeling all that. I'm digging this.
Hey,
like I think I'm back with hip hop now.
Please. You know what? I'm so happy to say that because that's what I hear. You know what? That's funny. I remember my first album release party. I had a number of people who were like 50 and older. People black, white, Latino. We had a lot of professors, people from the university, from like University of North Carolina, NC State, Duke. Couple of HBCUs, and that's what they said. They were like, you're the first rapper that I listened to, and I like it. And I was like, why? And they would say, I understand what you're saying. It's positive. And they're like, and you're actually not cursing. You're not saying anything that makes me not want to listen to it. And I was like, well, cool. And that's what I tell Mitch, I tell Joe T, I tell Io, I said, let's make a lane for ourselves, from the academy to the industry. But let's make a lane for ourselves from the university in the hip hop. Well, I should say hip hop into the university. Like let's do it, because I think in the future our music is something that people will be playing. As I said earlier, I feel like your NWAs, your TDEs, your Pops, so that's your Kendricks and your J-Rock. They make music to help you survive. Jay-Z, they make music to help you survive. We call our music save your life music. We should really say our music is about get your success, because that's what we do. We tell you how to stay successful. So how to treat people, how to treat yourself,
so
self-care.
I love that because I've heard this argument all the time that that this kind of rap doesn't sell or is not listened to. But I it sounds just like I dig it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to listen to misogynistic at my age to listen. And I have daughters, I have sons too. I have 2 sons, 2 daughters. And the steady diet of women are bitches and hoes and I mean and women are saying this too, right?
Yes.
So it's like it's a steady diet of this hard line kind of thing. And I'm thinking, I know when I was a kid, still, what music does to me.
Right.
Like if you hear, you know what I mean? Like music influences how you are in the world.
Yes.
So you could, if you have a bad day, you put on some Coltrane or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, So if they have this steady diet of this hard anti-people, black people, because it sounds anti-black to me.
Right. Oh no, I'm with you. Right. Yeah.
It doesn't
Denigration.
Listen, I ask my kids because I have a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, 16.
Okay.
I said, well, what do y'all listen to for love songs?
Right.
I'm like, what is your love song? What is, like, if you want to tell a girl how you feel?
Oh my goodness, we're gonna play some Teddy. We're gonna play some Marvin.
We gonna do that.
We're gonna play some.
But they're
some
not doing that.
I turned on Stephanie Mills. Shoot, I mean, I know how to set the mood.
But who do they turn on?
They may turn on
without it
Tayana
being...
Taylor. She's really good.
Is she good?
Oh yeah, no, she's great.
Because all I hear is, I'm gonna get you naked. I'm gonna take your clothes off. I'm gonna hammer you hard. And I was like, what? Wait, what? That's not romantic.
Now I will say this because I did just mention Tayana Taylor. She's down with Kanye West. Keep them in your good thoughts, please. But you definitely need it. I think the other thing that's happening is, people are either talking about sex, and one is because they really don't even know how to communicate about it anyway, which is really sad. See, this goes back to what I'm talking about youth and music. They don't know, no one, like, we go straight to sex. We don't talk about, what is the word? I forgot it. Oh my goodness.
A romance?
Well, no, I mean, it's like we talk about sex, but we don't talk about what we actually go through. We don't talk about nocturnal emissions, or what we say wet dreams. We don't talk about menstruation. Or people, sisters going through periods. We don't talk about the body changing, breasts developing, booties developing, hips widening. Your mind changing, acne on the face. See, we don't talk about it. We go straight from I love music and I'm great to a kid to love me do this. You see. That's the reason why I don't prescribe, that's why, like I say, rest in peace to Triple X Tentacion, but I don't prescribe to listening to a lot of these young people right now, because I'm like, you don't have nothing to tell me. I mean, if you're still talking about the hood, I grew out of that. Like, so if you're still talking about that, I'm like, I don't want to hear that no more. Not because I don't know what it's like to be there. It's because I'm like, hey, I'm trying to not get us out of there. We're trying to fix it. You see what I'm saying? No, we don't need to run from it. And the way that they're talking, you basically making us run from it and saying you're proud. I'm like, no, you're proud of the wrong thing. In my opinion, it's the same with the sex and same with the romance. They don't know how to talk about romance, but here's what they do know how to talk about. Besides sex, they talk about menage a trois, and doing what you probably see in porn films and stuff that we've been seeing since I guess the 70s.
Putting it on and uploading it to their YouTube channels and wherever else.
Yeah,
these young kids, they don't even know. Now you talk about in 10 years or 20 years how this is gonna come back and haunt people.
I just saw Ray J on the Breakfast Club. He was talking, Ray J. Hold the Kim. Yeah. It's funny that family got famous because of being on the camera. But anyway,
I know.
And here's
they
Ray J.
They built a whole fortune on that.
Whole empire, all of them.
But you can't do that now.
You can't do it now. But he holding his daughter, and it's like, I did make.
This is why I tell people,
that,
Karma knows everybody's address. Because now you gotta reckon with this now, because you got a daughter, and now you got to be thinking, how would you feel if somebody held a camera?
Right.
You be wanting to kill somebody.
Right.
You be ready to march over there with your handgun or whatever.
I got one of my old songs. I said it's so funny how we kill for our sister and our mothers, but then we got a bunch of women. I said, I'm just like, for real? Oh, no, okay. So that's how we do, huh? So hypocrites. See, so that's what I'm saying. It's like we don't learn what it is to be truly accountable. And I think that accountability comes with maturity. When you accept responsibility, that's when you're starting to be mature.
Yeah.
I do feel, as I'm still a person of faith. Like as I say, Jesus is my savior. I believe in God. I believe the fear of God is beginning of knowledge and wisdom. To understand that you're smaller, like you're probably one of the smallest things. There's something much bigger than you. And so that's why I think that there was a lot of wisdom. Like say in the 90s, the one thing I can say about what we did in the 90s, there was a lot of wisdom in our music, even though it was some ignorance too, or a lot of ignorance. Tupac had a lot of wisdom. A Biggie at times had wisdom. Wu-Tang Clan, Queen Latifah, Holy Love, Tribe Called Quest, Native Tongue, Dungeon Family. Like that's what we did. Today, there's not a lot of wisdom, but there's definitely a lot of emotion. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of sadness.
Yeah.
And it's because you're listening to people you haven't grown up yet.
Yeah.
So here you are but don't get me wrong, I'm glad a part of me is glad to hear it, because that's also the thing that we kept in the dark for, so long. Like the same young people who were depressed would have been, if they grew up like me, they would have been seen but not heard. So in some ways also, I think that a lot of this is also coming out because we have done ourselves an injustice too, with how we raised our kids, with how we taught to our kids. I grew up in a 2-parent household, but I would not sit here and lie and say everything was right, because I still had that old school way, where your parents were right, even though they were wrong. They could embarrass you in front of other people and call it discipline. They could cuss you out and call it love, and they can hit you and say it hurt them more than it hurt you. And it's like, that's a lie. I'm the one sitting here in pain. So what I'm saying is in a lot of ways also, while I don't like to listen to it, we also made it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like we created that. Like, so that's the reason why we have to come back together. Like we really do. And that's why in my music, I don't diss the young, I do not diss the young people for their music. I try to be a bridge. I'm like, we got to bring them, we got to come together. Not bring them over here, because over here wasn't perfect either.
So how do you find talent? Because you have a record company.
How do I find? Well, I found it in the classroom. I'm saying it like that. And I think that that's a great place to find talent. If anybody else start doing that, I'm suing you, because I did it first. I'm not playing with y'all. We on the radio now. Easley Brands did that first. Find talent in the classroom. Find talent in the place where people are loving to learn. The other place I found talent was in the church that I pastored. So find talent in a place where people are trying to grow and where they want to love and cultivate it. It's like, I'm not going to even box you in. I want to bring you to the studio. I know I met you in church, but do you curse in your music? They go, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why you do it? Don't do it. Why? If you can tell me why, okay, let's make this music. Let's keep going. You see what I'm saying? It's not, if there's purpose behind it and we can look to the future and see how it'll still be good, I say, then okay, then let's try it.
So what do you think, what do you want the future to be for the kind of music that you are putting out?
I want to see it in textbooks. And that's why we rap intelligently. I want to see it in classrooms. Like, like, why you hating? That's about society. See, like, and you heard Ayo's verse, which is good. He breaks down kind of like one main issue going on in society. You didn't hear my verse. And my verse breaks down, in my opinion, probably the origin of why we got to where we are. The fact that we don't talk to each other. All we do is text. Just because you took a class don't mean that you understand everything. Just because you read a book don't mean that you do it. Just because you talk too much don't mean that you can communicate. So I'm saying all of those things because we have to connect with each other. So I'd like to see our music in classrooms, because I'm a forester. I rap about forestry, hip hop forestry. I rap about the environment.
I love that.
And some people may say it's corny.
No, it can't be.
It's not corny.
It can't be corny, because when you look at where we are in America, where public housing is or has been, where the poorest people are, we have always been adjacent to some of the worst poisonous properties and lands. Like we are always near highways.
Yes.
We're always near plants. We're always, in places where the environment is harmful to us.
Yes. I say this, I got this thing right here. I say, here's my minority report about what's going on with the poor. No clean water, got liquor stores. No banks, good housing, can't afford. Got drugs, got guns, got whores. Dope boys, no books, gym floors. Dead pool, can't swim, lead in my pores. Contaminated, mentally challenged, I'm sore. Getting scholarships, but my body earns scores. I want to use my mind and explore. A crooked ass cop standing at my door. Say I resemble this dude that shot 4. But I don't own a gun, but I am at war. Praying about who coming after the 44th. President evidence there won't be no more. Black folk for a while, not expecting support. We wrote that over 3 years ago.
Whoa.
And you look where we are now.
Whoa.
I said praying about who coming after the 44th because the election hadn't even happened yet.
Whoa.
But I knew whoever we got, we were going to, and of course we know, like, and we know what we got now. But, but I was like, whoever we got, we still going to need prayer.
Yeah. 2
years before what happened at Mother Emanuel in South Carolina, we made a song. And we called it Yeah What? And we said the church ain't safe. They're going to come and shoot up the church. And then 2 years later, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we like, oh,
Whoa.
shoot. Like,
but you could see it. I mean, you could see it, right?
It's just forthtelling. Almost like in the Bible, they had prophets. But in a lot of ways, they really were forthtellers. You look at what's going on in society and you can predict, like, it's eventually, I think that this is going to happen. It is inevitable.
Well,
that this is
listen,
gonna happen.
we know that we do that anyway. They do it. It's called data. They could tell you by the 3rd grade how many prison beds are needed.
Come on.
So we're already doing that.
Yeah.
We just have not transferred or connected it to our everyday practical lives, because there are people out there. That's what they do. They spend their time looking at trends and looking at data to see, what needs to happen and put things in place. That's why we have so many prisons. That's why we have prison beds. That's why we have less schools. That's why they know.
Yep, exactly. Genius is coming. It's just that we haven't created the right systems to be able to assess it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't assess it one way. So that's why groups of people struggle, and then another group, if you will, kind of advances.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a number of ways, of how to look at this and even how to rectify it too. But we're still kind of dealing with the same challenge right now. That's why in our music we try to do it a different way.
We got about 4 minutes.
Okay.
How hopeful are you these days?
Very.
How? Why?
Because I get to interact with people like you. I do work with young people. Like, for real. Like, see, I know how to break away. See, the one thing that I will not do is stay in an environment that's dying 24/7 without going out and getting some life part of that time. What I will not do is work in an environment where people are constantly learning and talking, but not sitting and reflecting, without coming out and doing a lot of that on my own and doing some of that with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I have hope, one, because I believe in God. I have hope, which also means that I believe in myself. And I know the man that I am. I'm not perfect. I'm not always right, but I'm not aiming to hurt people because I love myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt women. I don't want to hurt children. I don't have any children, but I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to hurt white people, black, whatever. And I know that there are other people out there like me, stronger than me, smarter than me, better than me, more handsome than me, pretty, whatever, older, younger, the same, whatever, got more money, it's all of that. So I'm comfortable in who I am. That's why I have hope, because I know how I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I know how the other people are. I've met you. Here we are. I work with young people. I love working with young people, because most young people's solutions, this is not an exaggeration, most of their solutions that they come up with, whether they're 4 or 18, is always about working with other people. We can do it if we come together. We can do it if we sit down and think about this. I'm like, oh my goodness.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So those need to be our politicians. Can we just help them stay good like this throughout their 20s and 30s? Okay, put them in office and let them know that they don't need to be there forever.
Hello, somebody.
Can we do that? So that's why I have hope, because I know that the other thing that I know is when I hear negativity from other people, that you didn't create that.
Mm-hmm.
That came from somewhere. So that's also why I have hope. If we can unlearn what we've learned and teach each other and move together, we can do it. And we can do it whether it's forestry, in my case, whether it's hip hop in my case, whether it's in the church or the temple or in the streets too.
Mm.
So
this has been one of my favorite conversations.
Okay. Well, same here.
And I
Ashley,
talk to people every day.
Okay.
I've enjoyed this. You have to come back.
Do.
I so love this conversation. I'm so happy we were able to make this happen.
I'd like to make a request.
Yes.
If you don't mind, and it's a shameless plug. Like I said, my label is
there's
Easley
no
branch.
shame. There's no shameless plugs. Put it out there.
Okay, cool. I'd like to come back either next month or even in October, because we're going to launch this hip hop forestry platform.
Yes!
I'm working with Dogwood Alliance. They're going to actually help me put the song out. I thought I was going to put it out on my own. I can tell you this. When you work on your own for a long time, it can change you into an introvert. And that's what happened to me. And I want to come back out. I want to like being around people, and I feel like it's a drain. And Dogwood Alliance helped me out. They said, we want to help you put this out. You help me. I'll put you on my show. man, for years I used to ask for help and get no's. And then right as I'm like, man, okay, I guess I'm done asking. Now people are, so that's also why I have hope, right? Like when I thought I was done, it's like God's like, no, you're not done, because God is infinite.
Absolutely.
Love is always out there.
Yes.
So I'd like to come back and talk about hip hop.
You better come back and talk.
Okay.
You better come back. So Harry, I'm gonna play us out with something of his from Dr. Rashad Easley.
Yeah, play that ethereal funk.
Dr. Thomas Easley is the assistant dean at the Yale School of Forestry. He oversees community inclusion. His label is RashadEasley.com. Right? www.
Rashad, that's it. That's my website.
RashadEasley.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go and listen to his music. It's up on SoundCloud, but we're going to play something now. Play something out. Harry, you got me? Okay. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed this. Is this it?
This is a welcome party. This is a welcome party.
Oh,
this is a welcome party. 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 We have come to welcome. We have come to welcome.
Get up, stand up. Come on, throw your hands up. Flying high in the sky, now you understand us. Get up, stand up. Come on, throw your hands up. Flying high in the sky, now you understand us.
This is a welcome party. 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 This is a welcome party.
Prepare to compare me to super predators. Apex, they threat, true genetic code. Rashad, doctor, music's medical. Yes, they call me B, King Pharaoh. God, smell like frankincense and myrrh, royal pheromones. Shining in dark, we all are nebulas. On an endless diamond sky, rock, gold, herringbone. Nutritional diet, got strong herringbone. Cut from a different claw, rich as Farrakhan. Black professionals resembles Farrakhan. Powerful as the Kakarot, we all got Dragon Ball. And my word is bond. Speech connecting all to the truth. Beach from California in the groove. Ball for ball like club, hot we in the groove. Pay attention to my lyrics, we in school. 80s, baby.
This is a welcome party. 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 We have come to welcome. We have come to welcome.
Get up, stand up. Come on, throw your hands up. Flying high in the sky, now you understand us. Get up, stand up. Come on, throw your hands up. Flying high in the sky, now you understand us. Black body, my target practice 13 years old. Shot with a BB gun, dead another pair cold. No age 13, see that is a baby. Think you have some burgers made a system that'll hate me. Now y'all are not simply just another crazy visionary chasing national treasures. You can't cage me. You don't want that face off like John the Travolta. Rogue arrows and wild hawk for fiction. We will rupture eyeballs. Yo, please pause before you